All right, everyone. I'm back. I'm back. I think it's working right now. Let me see. Give me 1 second. I don't know what's going on here today, but it's being eventful for sure. So let me take a look. Oh my gosh. All right. See, let's see. Dun, da, 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 da. I think it's live. I think I'm live. Now I'm not 100% sure. So let's just roll it. Let's just do it. Welcome everyone to DayvissonGPT. I'm speaking here directly from Dallas, Texas. It's about 9:07. We had some hiccup here. Usually it starts at 9 o'clock on the dot. But it's totally cool. It's technology. It's live, so there is no scripts and there is no editing here. I just want to make sure you can hear me, and we're just going to take from there. Well, there's a lot of stuff to talk about today. First of all, let me get my notes here opened to make sure I'm not going all over the place. This time is for you. The reason why I created DayvissonGPT was to help um, tech sellers, professionals who are trying to get into tech sales. That's how everything started. It was about, I would say, 10 months ago. I was getting a lot of questions on my DM, and I decided to do 1 hour every week, and I'll answer any questions and all the questions I get on my DM. I do not have time, and physically, I'm not capable to, go to everyone's uh, phone call and cough chats, and I'm trying to do my best to help the best way I can. Uh, yes. So this is DayvissonGPT. So give me questions. Let me know what you have. I'm thinking about changing the format of this show. In fact, I I don't want to give too much details now because I don't like to overpromise and underdeliver. But I think like job search is such an important, such a tiny task, right? You have to be fresh every day. You have to get leads every day. You have to be networking every day. You have to be applying, hopefully almost every day. So you need like very updated information. So I'm actually thinking about doing this daily. Not for 1 hour, but maybe for like 10, 15 minutes, 20, 30 max. But I can bring fresh ideas, uh, give live feedback. I can take this time to help you um, accelerate your job search. That's my goal. Um, the consistency on that is going to be the challenge for me, making sure I show up every day. But I like to challenge myself to come up with a solution for that. So let me know if you think that's a good idea or not, or if you have any suggestions. I'm open for feedback. But yeah, I'm here to help you. Let me know if you have any questions right now. If you don't have any questions right now, I'm just going to keep talking, and I can go over my posts. I can talk about things that I saw this week on tech sales uh, world, right, of people trying to get jobs. I can talk about jobs openings. I can talk about um, the master class that I had last week. I can talk about the quiz that I have available for everyone to take. Anyways, I can go any direction you want, and yeah, I can go ahead and let me get some paper here and start. So if you have any questions, again, let me know. Oh, this is my daughter's always drawing pictures here. This is the whole family. She's cute. She comes here to the office and help daddy sometimes. Um, so here you go, everyone. I'm ready to answer any questions you have. I like doodling and then writing down. I can better process. I'm very visual when it comes to learning and teaching. So If you don't have any questions, I'm going to get started here. All right. Now, if you're a tech seller, right? Let's say if you're like you're looking for a job, but you're like on the stealth mode, nobody knows, or some people know. Of course, you're not gonna come here and ask question live and drop your name and all that. So you're kind of reserved. I get it. I've been there. I've done that. That's the reason why I'm doing this. So if you feel like you need a little bit more privacy, just drop your questions on my DM. And from my DM, I can answer here. I'll keep your name private. I have my purpose is just to help you. And I also, like, I talked to a few people this week. They are high achievers. Like most of the people that I talk with, they are overachievers. They're high performers. They have the degree. Let's say they have the resume, and they still need help. If you think about it, the professional world, where let's talk about sports because everyone can kind of relate. The high performer athletes, the best ones, the ones who are crushing it, the ones who are winning medals and tournaments and Olympics and World Cups and all the good stuff. All of them have coaches. All of them have mentors. All of them have accountability. So don't think like because you're a high performer and you're a great seller and if you're still stuck, if you're still not getting the offers that you want, you still need help. That's something that I can talk about later, but some people might think, I don't want to ask Dave some questions because it might be, don't let the pride get in your way. I would just say that. And we all need help, even the high performers, okay, even the best ones. That's all I want to say. So if you are listening to this, you could be the top 1%. You still need help. We can all improve. We can all do better, and I guarantee that you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We can all improve. So let me try to, on that line, I have a few questions here that I got this week, and I can just go ahead and answer. All right. I'm just gonna try to drop here in the chat, and okay. I think I just realized that I'm not live on LinkedIn. Am I live on LinkedIn? Gosh. And can anyone tell me that I'm live on LinkedIn or not? Can anyone tell me? Thumbs up or something, because if I'm not live on LinkedIn, that's weird. Can anybody see me? I might have to stop here and check on my phone or something. Oh man. Oh, there's a question here. How do I stand out? Oh no, this is for YouTube. Okay, so I believe I'm live. Man, this has been tricky today. At first I couldn't log in, and then I couldn't broadcast, and then now I don't know if I'm live. I think I'm live. I'm just gonna continue. If anybody's listening to this right now, please just thumbs up. Would say something, say good morning, good night, whatever you are listening to this, and then just participate here for a little bit so I know that you are listening, and just make sure everything's working. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep talking. I believe it's live. So let's just go. Let's just move on. Okay. So I got in here this week. Davison, how do I stand out when everyone's applying to the same jobs? How do I stand out when everyone's applying to the same jobs? Especially when there's not a whole lot of jobs, right? Especially when you're talking about like the most competitive organizations like Microsoft, Google, LinkedIn, the big techs. There's two problems here, okay? The two things not problems, but two things that you have to focus on. Your positioning, right? If there's a lot of people, you have to figure out how you're going to position yourself. And then the second one is just your outbound strategy. Like you gotta figure it out. How are you gonna reach out to people? How are you gonna reach out to that recruiter, to the hiring manager, to that team, to that organization, and differentiate yourself as everyone's trying to connect with that same uh, and compete for that same position, right? So your positioning, your storytelling, all those things needs to be worked. Your outbound strategy, you got to figure out how you're going to stand out. Yeah, that's the question right here. Yeah, so it's a great question, everyone, because it's not easy. It's not easy. I just put the question here. It's under my name, but that's what I just got today. It's not easy to differentiate yourself, especially when you're trying to you're still trying to perform at work. You're still trying to do all the other things that you got to do, and you still have to put time to find your job. But you have to do something different. Let me today I talked about where is your job search funnel. I just posted that on LinkedIn. So where is your job search funnel? A lot of us tech sellers are really good at let me take this out. We're really good at selling um, products and solutions. Sometimes we are not the best at selling ourselves, right? So because we don't have a methodology, we don't have a system, we don't have a job search funnel strategy, right? So let me actually draw just two pictures here. If anybody has a question, I'll stop anytime and I'll answer your question. But since nobody is asking anything right now, let me see how I can better teach this. So let's say, let me use an analogy here. I'm going to draw two funnels. Right, one I'm going to call just a regular, just B2B sales funnels. All right, and versus your job search funnel. All right, let's compare. Okay, let's compare it and contrast maybe. So let's talk about these, okay, for just a second here. Because we're sellers, we understand there's a B2B sales funnels on the top. There's the awareness, there's the discovery. What else? The demo, right? All the way to the close. I'm just kind of simplifying here, right? So your ICP is going to go all the way down to the solution, right? The solution you provided, the product, and that's where you're going to get the sale. This is just a regular sales funnels, right? You have your ICP on the top. You have a perfect ICP, and then you go after, right? Now, when it comes to a job search funnel, let's talk about, you have the cold applies. That's what usually people are doing. They're applying cold, and they have the resume and the LinkedIn to build awareness, right? And then they have I don't know, and then they get interviews, and then they get ghosted. You don't want to get ghosted, but a lot of times you get ghosted, or there's all the stress and all that. So all the ways you want to get to the offer, right? So you gotta, yeah. I don't know if this is making sense, but there's two funnels. I only want to try to say there's a sales funnels and there's a job search funnel. So if you're using a funnel to find your perfect ICP, if you're using a funnel to sell, why you're not using a funnel for your job search? That's one of the biggest reasons I call my coaching business tech sales funnels, because it truly is a funnel all the way to the offer, right? There's all these opportunities out there, and there's the offer at the end. And when are you going to get that offer? It all depends on how you're currently managing your funnel, your job search funnel. So, how how can you do that better, right? How can you optimize your sales funnels? So there's a few things you can do. Have a clear ICP. Have a clear ICP. Like instead of ideal client profile, have an ideal company profile. That's what's the role, what's the level, what's the industry. You gotta be more specific. Gotta be more strategic. Second, have a strong offer. Like what do you solve? What problem do you solve? What are your superpowers? What are you bringing to the table? You need to have your own personal offer. You gotta have a number three. You gotta have a visible brand. You gotta have visibility. If you're not seen, remember if people don't know that you exist, they're not gonna like you. They're not gonna trust you. So have a visible brand. You gotta be top of mind, and then you have to have a repeatable playbook. You have to have outbound messages. You have to have follow-ups, storytelling. You have to be everything synchronized in a way that is sustainable. That you're not gonna get burned out. It's something that you can track and measure, just like in sales. Just like in sales. So your job search isn't failing because you are underqualified. It's failing because you're underpositioned and underseen. Again, you're not underqualified. You're just underpositioned and you're underseen. People need to see you. People need to know who you are first, and they need to like you. They need to trust you, just like in sales. So sometimes, as sellers, we forget that simple principle of job search. So I just wanted to drop that out today. So see yourself like you would see in sales, in business to business sales, because this time you are the product, right? You are the solution, and you have to sell yourself. I just wanted to remind that today was one of my posts on LinkedIn today, and I don't see any questions here. I'm starting to question if I'm live or not. If I'm live here, if this makes any sense, thumbs up here or give us a live over there on the other side. I'm just talking here in my shed, my office, and you can only hear my voice. Sometimes my kids outside. All right. Let's move on, everyone. DayvissonGPT live. I'm here to help you answer your questions live. The reason I created this is not for me, it's actually for you. So if I have a question, I'll stop whatever I'm saying here to answer your question. And I just look at my LinkedIn profile and see if there is any specific, another question that I got this week here. Okay. Give me a second. And I'm trying to go to my LinkedIn profile here on my live feed and see what's going on over there. All right. Yep, right here. I am live, so I see 2 thumbs up here. Okay, that's good. Awesome. Let's go. Let's move on. Here's a question that I get a lot. Which because there's a lot of layoffs recently, and let me see if you can see this question. I'll put it over here. How do I talk about being laid off without sounding weak? So I'm keeping this information private. There's a lot of layoffs happening in tech sales. It's just part of the industry. Just honestly, we just need to get over. We just need to be ready for. It's something that it's coming. It's like a storm. The storm is either coming, you either going through it or getting past the storm. But it's coming, and you just have to be ready, and it is what it is, right? So just now, how do you talk about layoff without sounding weak? First of all, a layoff is not a sign of weakness, okay? It's not, like 99%. It's not even your fault, right? So why should you just have to reframe? Okay, the first it's redirection, it's change, it's It's restructuring. It's an opportunity for you to move on. It's an opportunity for the team to accomplish their goals, and you can see uh, that a lot of the mindset it plays big here, right? I actually let me see. You gotta ask the question behind the question, right? Like why someone would ask this question. They're probably having a challenge with their self-esteem, right? They're probably having a challenge. Maybe the layoff took a big hit on them, and they are feeling weak. Let me see if I can find my notes here. Totally lost it. Give me a second. Yeah, so it's a matter of redirection, right? It's a matter of redirection. It's a matter of reframing, storytelling. It's just like who you are as a whole, like what's the value you bring. Um, Especially in tech sales, like everyone knows that layoffs are part of the industry. So don't even take that as a weak like take that as your opportunity to rebrand yourself. I would just say that layoffs are your opportunity to rebrand yourself, your opportunity to reposition, your opportunity to find a new direction, your opportunity to find a new and better opportunity. So reframe. Layoffs is not a sign of weakness. Okay, it's actually a sign. Once you are trying to reinvent yourself, it's a sign of strength, right? So it's all about reframing into your head and how you're going to turn around and create your own story. But that's a very common question I see all the time. Uh, it's just people, job seekers, tech sellers, um, depending, independent of the situation, just trying to reframe their own story. So it says, there's a statistics here that I wrote down this week. Yeah, so 48%, that's coming from HubSpot. 48% of tech sellers say that they are actively looking due to instability. So again, I'm gonna write this number here. So 48% looking for a new opportunity. Instability. So it's a high number. It's almost like half of the workforce, almost half of the so 48% of opportunity due to instability. So instability is just part of the game. And as 48% who are looking for, they might even have a job. They might be on their job right now, but they are networking. They are being smart. They are finding opportunities to apply for new jobs. They are actively looking, right? They're not just waiting to get laid off and then start looking for the opportunity. You gotta start looking and networking and being proactive and take ownership of your career before the bad things happen. And if it was like a curveball and you're not expecting at all, and then there's things that you can do, but not ever frame as a weakness. Never ever frame as a problem with you. It's just that things happen outside of your control, and you just have to find a way to move on. Um, so I'm gonna stop for a second and see if there is any questions here. Um, Otherwise, I'll just keep talking. There's another. Give me a second here. Okay, this I get all the time. This one's a good one. Let me post over here. Let me post over here. And let me show. Do I really need to be posted on LinkedIn? So that's a really good question. Do I really need to be posting on LinkedIn? Now, I can give a long answer and I can give a short answer, which one you want. And I can give the good news and the bad news. The short answer, yes. The long answer, yes. If you want to find a shortcut, if you want to get more visibility, if you want to differentiate yourself, right, on your strategy, if you want to have that visibility that we talked about it, totally. You don't even have to be actually posting. You can be commenting, you can be interacting, you just have to learn how to leverage the tool. Now, good news is that the people who are leveraging LinkedIn, the people who are actually posting, the people who are mastering this job search, I'll say, getting better results. They're getting landing jobs faster, and they're way more productive in their job search. Bad news is the whole job search game has changed. I'll say not even like 5 years or 10 years, maybe even the last year, which is AI, and how I talked about AI last time. I don't want to go too deep into that, but a lot of applications, a lot of recruiters are getting even more overwhelmed. Anyways, there's all sorts of problems that AI is causing. There's all sorts of solutions that AI is causing at the same time problems. So yes, if you want to differentiate yourself, and if you want to have a better results, faster results, yes, I'll totally do it. Uh, and that's how I try to teach my clients to do it. So, all right, that's a great question. One second. So why would you not? Why would you not use LinkedIn to your job search? That's the question. Okay. We all know you have to use it. I mean, you don't have to, but it would help you. 100%. It would scale your speed your job search. But why would you not? That's the question, right? So I have a few opinions on that, and I'm not a corporate seller anymore. I'm a full-time career coach right now. But a lot of organizations, a lot of corporate organizations, they have the marketing team, and they have you know, they have to keep their message unified, and whoever is working for that organization, if you want or not, you are an ambassador for that organization. So there is some restrictions and things that companies in corporate America might put on you, on your team, on the entire organization to that actually restricts you to post and to interact. But I don't think that's the problem. Um, that can inhibit some people to do it. But I have seen one of the most successful sellers, and I have done myself when I was a tech seller, active tech seller. I was very active here on LinkedIn, and it totally opened many doors, talking to clients, for people to get to know me better, partners. It was a great way to build my personal brand, my digital presence, my executive presence, and it totally helped me. So there's so many benefits. So yes, corporations, organizations might have some restrictions, but you can get around that. Because this is about you. It's about you building your personal brand. It's not only you building that company brand, right? So because you can get laid off anytime, right? You can change organizations. You can change solutions and products that you sell. So you have to be careful and not be careful, but the suggestion, the idea is that yes, represent the organization the best way you can. At the same time, you also have to represent yourself the best way you can. So you got to find a balance, right? But I think a lot of times, just that I think the biggest challenge that people have using LinkedIn is just that they feel vulnerable, and is the exposure, right? Is they don't feel as confident to share their message, or they feel like they have another myth, another problem, and they feel like they need to be like the next LinkedIn influencer, or what's the name, the blue badger, whatever. I can't even can't remember the name now, but a top voice. You have to be a top voice. You don't have to be a top voice. You don't have to be the next LinkedIn influencer. Um, I just saw, I just read on I think it was YouTube, that there's a singer, and a very very famous singer, and his wife. Uh, they just got married or something, and his girlfriend, I don't even understand, but because she has an account on LinkedIn, and she just went viral, right? She became a celebrity on LinkedIn overnight, just because she works for Deloitte, and it's a Deloitte, and then her account now is like just blew up. You see, when like, it's not about having that, right? It's about you just document your journey. It's about you uh, just sharing the things you're learning, right? It's about you um, talking about the product you sell. It's about you maybe sharing an experience with a client. You don't even have to disclose the name, keep privacy, right? So there's ways that you can do. You can talk about your job. There's ways that you can talk about your day to day, and still keep uh, the privacy that you need. So, and you don't even have to post. You don't even like you can just go on other people's comments, and then add some value, and go to a thought leader that you follow, or on the organization that you want to work for, and just follow, and make comments. And naturally, I read this week, I even saw like a post from a hiring manager, that he says the first thing that I do once I get a resume, I go to LinkedIn. Yeah, it's just what's happening right now, right? Sorry, allergies. First thing you hiring managers do when they get a resume, they go to LinkedIn. So now they want to make sure, oh, is this resonating? Is this the same message? Is this is coherent, right? So make sure resume LinkedIn is aligned. But then he's like, the second thing I do after checking people's profile is to see what kind of posts they make, and how is their interaction on the platform, like, right? Do they make thoughtful posts? Do they actually use the platform? Because if they're going to be tech sellers, they're going to work for me. They have to learn how to use LinkedIn, right? If you're a tech seller, if you're like, let's say you're the best at what you do, okay, you're top 1% in your club, you get all the awards, you hit quota, and then let's say all of a sudden you have to find a new job, okay, or you're trying to get a new job, but you're so focused on your job because you're doing so well, right? But that you haven't built a personal brand, you're not even using LinkedIn. That's a problem. If you want to make a move, if you need to make a move, you're forced to make a move. That's a problem. It's going to be a little bit harder for you, because that's the new way. That's just how it is done these days. It's the way you can differentiate yourself, the way for you to stand out and to have the visibility that you need. You have to build a better personal brand digital presence. You have to. Um, that's the that's just what it is. It's not me saying. You can talk to 100 career coaches today, and they're gonna say the same thing, because they're coaching, different industries, in different type of jobs. They all need to have a personal brand. So there's where do I start? How do I have again? Where do I start? You don't start a marathon by sprinting the whole thing. You just have a strategy. You can come up with a plan. Start slow, be consistent, but find a way. Find a way to leverage the tool that's available to you. It's free, and it can open doors faster than you can do by trying to do yourself. So again, 48% of tech sellers are currently looking for new opportunities due to instability. Tech sellers. So if that's you, just don't think like you're alone. Don't think like just part of the industry. It's one of those. Every industry has its own challenges and its own barriers and things you have to overcome. And tech sales is no different. Okay, just embrace it and then prepare for it. I was gonna say something here that I saw today. Yeah, so let's see. Recruiters spend 7 seconds on your resume. Interviews are 70% storytelling. So this is interesting. Let me. And this is very. I'm really passionate about this. So let me talk about this for a second. Any questions? If everyone have any questions, if there's anybody listening, or if you want me to redirect this conversation in a different way, I'm here for you. I'm here to answer your questions. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this. How can I do this? So recruiters average, people say 6 seconds, people say 7 seconds, people say 10 seconds. Who knows? It depends if the recruiter is, have more time, less time, or AI is helping. But let's say that since recruiters spend 7 seconds looking at your resume. Now, when you get to the interview, you spend 70% of the interview storytelling. And that's why a lot of, us career coaches, we teach people how to use the STAR method, which is a storytelling method, right? Situation, task, action, results. That's a story. It's a format of a story. And that's you can find multiple formats of stories. As long as you're telling a story, as long as you have stories to tell, you'll be good. Recruiters, hiring managers, the humans, they're busy. They are jumping from call to call, and they have problems at home. They have problems at work. They have problems with their own managers. With whatever is going to their world, they're going to jump on a call and they're going to try to listen to you for 30 seconds or to 1 hour. And if you're just mumbling and going all over the place and you're not telling stories, you're not going to capture their attention, right? And I'll be honest, like sometimes I even struggle. I tell stories, but sometimes I miss a little bit of the structure piece because I get excited. I want to tell too much information, and sometimes I I'm I can do much better in interviews. Um, anyways, so just remember that, right? So this uh, interview should be 70% storytelling. 7 seconds recruiters having your resume. 70% of the interview should be storytelling. So if you notice that a recruiter is not listening, if you notice that he's not engaged, if you notice that he's not taking notes, just kind of slow down. Just breathe for a second and just think, am I telling stories here or not? start telling stories. Okay. Now I recommend people to go to interview with at least 10 stories. And that's how I train my clients, and that's how we prepare for at least 10 stories that will represent who they are, what the value that they're bringing to the table. Uh, it's based on their core values. It's based on the company's core values, the things that they're looking for, what that specific job is looking for. The stories have to relate to the job. Just remember that if you're telling stories and they're not related to the job, what's the point, right? What's the point? So stories have to be related to the jobs. Spend 70% of the interviews telling stories, and probably the other 30% trying to ask questions, trying to engage somehow the interviewer. Uh, so you're actually having a conversation instead of having like an interrogatory kind of a interview. Those are the worst ones, the most boring ones. It's just when the other side is just shooting all these questions, boom, 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 and you're trying to answer or defend yourself. I don't know what you're even trying to do. Those are the hard ones. Be careful. That could be a red flag, by the way. Is bombarded and you're not having a chance to speak, or it's a 50-50. I always tell everyone interviews are a 50-50 game. If you are feeling like it's being like 80-20, 90 to 10%, hey, run. Because that's the culture, probably the culture of the organization. Once you get there, um, that may translate to the management, that might translate to the team, then they might not be listening to you. I think listening, it's listening to their listening. So here's a listening, listen to their listening, because that shows how much they care. That shows if they're really worth it, your time and your energy. You have value. You have all these things to bring to the table, and they have to realize that, and you have to have time to ask questions and to clarify your own doubts and to do your own interview. So show up to the interview. I was thinking this is a 50-50. I also have to don't look desperate. Don't look like look like you were motivated and this is the job that you want. But at the same time, just remember that you have a voice, you have a value, and slavery is way gone. Many years ago. It's a level playing right now, and just do your best uh, to tell your stories 70% of the time. Don't forget that. All right, let's see. Let me see the other YouTube, see if there's any questions on YouTube, and see how I can pull the questions from there. Let me go to my DM and on LinkedIn and see what I got. Okay, let's see here. You know what? I can talk about the. So I recently created this quiz that is helping tech sellers to figure out what kind of profile they are, what kind of job seekers they are. And on the last two lives, I talked about probably 6 of those profiles. And there is one that's coming out a lot, and I think it's worth it to talk about it here. Let me talk about this profile today. If anybody has any questions, please drop. Otherwise, I'm going to talk about this one, which is burnout. Let's see. Burned out. All right. So let me talk to you right now. The burned out elite. All right. You are burned out elite. You're a job seeker. You're a tech seller, and you were burned out. But so why you were burned out? Okay. So you're kind of high in strategy. Like you think you have all figured it out. Okay. Your visibility is high because you have maybe you probably work for like a great organization. You have a good LinkedIn profile, and then your communication is good. Like once you show up to the right person at the right time to the right role, you deliver. You have good interviews, and you move on the hiring process, but you're not getting the offer, and you're not getting the offer again, and you're getting ghosted, and you're getting burned out. Burned out because you are high performing, you are doing all you can, but you still don't get the offer, right? So that's what I call the burned out elite, because you are a high performer, you're good, you're good what you do in sales, you're a good job seeker, but you're still not able to get things figured out. So uh, I think um, you're very confident in pitching, you're very confident in interviews, um, you can sell really well, but still you still not be able to sell yourself, right? So here's like a little profile for the burnout elite, and I see that a lot because I worked for IBM and Microsoft. A lot of the people that connect, interact with me, they are from big tech organizations. They are actually high performance sellers, and that's the people that I want to talk with, right? And the people that are trying to find a better job, the people who wants that promotion, the people who want to bounce back quickly. They don't want to be hanging around and trying to reinvent the wheel. They just want to hit with as a strong presence. It's high interview skills, but frustrated because it's getting minimal traction, which is frustrating for someone who's an overachiever, right? So the you have succeeded before because you were able to get the jobs you have, but you're right now because you're getting burned out. You actually you kind of your strategy is getting a little bit weaker because now you're like almost like spraying, praying because things are not working, right? Um, so you're not having inbound activities. Recruiters are not looking for you, and then you don't have a real system, and this is costing you time and money, in your mindset, in your energy, and but you think like a closer, but you're behaving like a traditional job seeker. That's what's happening. You think like a closer. You are elite tech seller, but you are acting. You're trying to find. Maybe you haven't looked for a job in a long time. Maybe you don't know how to use LinkedIn. Maybe you are using outdated strategies, or maybe you're not using AI to help you, and you're getting burned out. Okay, so I get that all the time. People stuck, frustrated, and what the problem, the biggest problem of all, is that a lot of times they think like they're doing everything. They come to me, I'm doing everything, uh, but they're not. And that's the reality. The truth is, if you were doing everything, you would have an offer by now. You wouldn't be burned out. So burned out is a sign that something's wrong and needs to be fixed. The fire is there. You're getting burned. You have to stop the fire. You have to have a strategy. You have to heal yourself so you can go after. Sometimes because you're so burned out, job seeker, you jump in on interviews and people can see through your eyes. They can feel your energy. It's not translating well. And I have most of the people that come to me for help, for coaching, for to pick up my brain, to whatever, it's just because they are burned out, right? They're frustrated. Uh, they know that they can do the job. So don't think that everything's perfect. Just have self-awareness. If you keep doing the same things, you're going to keep getting the same results, which is getting burned. So you get burned, and you have to change strategy. You have to come up with new solutions. Um, so if you haven't, thank you. This quiz is really cool. I spent a lot of time with my buddy Kevin, and we put together this quiz that's giving people a lot of clarity. Sometimes it's the truth, and you don't want to hear the truth, but the truth will set you free, right? The truth will help you to go from burned out to the offer, right? So you like strategy, your visibility, communication. They are they look like they're all good because you're elite. You're elite. So I have visibility. I have my LinkedIn is great. If I had someone come to me recently, like everything's good. So why I'm not getting the offers? Like, well, everything's not good. You gotta fix some things. So this person, I'm not never gonna mention names, but they definitely need to have a new strategy. The visibility, there's a lot of stuff that can be done on the LinkedIn profile that's not done yet. That can help with better visibility and maybe engagement, or maybe even like that person needs to be a more active, a thought authority, because she's so high level to the job that they want to get that they have to have a better presence. They have to show up, right? So not communicating well. So in reality, the burned out is fire. There's literally fire everywhere. And that's why it's burning them out. Look, they think everything's good, but in reality, they need a better strategy. They need better communication, visibility. The biggest problem is that is recognizing them. That's the biggest challenge. Is be humble enough to recognize there's something different needs to be done. So it's 1 hour here. I've been talking for about an hour. This time goes by like crazy. Thanks so much, everyone, for participating, enjoying. I always enjoy this time here. I tried to answer some questions, some thoughts that I had this week. I didn't even have time to go to my posts. I'm super excited. This week I was, talked about on LinkedIn about the TEDx that I'm going to speak, and I'm super excited about it because it has been something I've been planning forever. So I have many goals, many things, just like you, and you're trying to achieve. So I wish you the best on your goals. I wish you the best on your job search. I wish you the best on the things that you're trying to do. If you want to have more insights on your current strategy, take the quiz that I have on my profile, and I'll see you next week.